Welcome in to the FC podcast. This is episode numero tres. I am your co-host, Killer Gunny 132, and not to my right is Toast 78901. He is in Europe right now, so I'm handling the first segment of the podcast by myself. But don't worry, he will be here later in the show for our interview, a little tease there, and also our final segment. But I will be handling the battle results on the FC news in this first segment. So let's get right into it. The battle results, in case any of you didn't know, if you didn't know, you must be living under a rock. Today, Sunday, which I'm recording this, was the first battle night of the second Halo 4 war. And it was a pretty good one, too. The maps were Ortelius and Settler. Red attacked Ortelius, and Blue attacked Settler. Let's start on Ortelius, which really, when it started out, it really looked like Blue was going to take that map pretty easily as they won the first 4 out of 5 games. But then Red really fought back and won 5 in a row and took the map, including a last match tiebreaker between Sparta and Corbin and the boys. Now on Settler, once again, it looked like Blue was going to win the map as they won the first 4 matches, but then Red fought back a little bit, but then Blue closed it out. There were 13 matches scheduled for Settler. It only took 10 to take the map. The last 3 war exhibition matches. Let's jump into some squad stats. The best squad for Blue this week was Sparta, who went 6-2, including a victory over VBD in Extraction, which was pretty cool because that hasn't happened since the Halo 3 wars. So congratulations to Anarchy and his boys. I know Anarchy has been working with that squad all peacetime. I'm pretty proud of him for that squad. Now to Red, it was a pretty balanced effort for Red. No squad really stood out. As VBD went 2-1, First Degree went 2-1, and Vanquish went undefeated and went 2-0. So really a good balanced effort from Red to grab Ortelius tonight. And really, if it's any indication, this war is going to be back and forth. If it keeps happening like this where they keep trading map attacks, which I hope for, because it would be a lot better if it's balanced instead of just a blowout like last war. Now let's jump into some FC news. Once again, the real only big news is that we're a part of Halo Unity now. We are official partner. If you notice on the bottom of the forums, we have the Halo Unity logo. We are officially partnered with them. If you have not signed up, go sign up on Halo Unity. It's a great site. It's a lot of fun. I know FC has dominated that though. I know I think I heard a number like 90% of its active members are from Forerunner Conflict, which is fantastic. That's fantastic. We are really making an impact there then. I know one of my favorite things to do on Halo Unity is they have the little Halo trivia. And I was playing that with Cody or Ghost Hammer, some of you know him, and Captain Nick, and that was a lot of fun. It's really good. It's really fun for those Halo buffs, the Halo lore buffs that know all that stuff. It was a lot of fun. I suggest you go do that. Also, when we posted our episode 2 podcast last week, if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It's great stuff, as always. We posted a poll, and we wanted to know how you guys listen to the podcast, and most of you said that you listen via the YouTube link that we have that links to the official Forerunner Conflict YouTube page. And that's great and all, but we were, I was talking with Toast, and Toast is our editor here at the FC podcast. And he wants to make 2 versions of the show. He wants to make a version for the YouTube channel, which will not have any copyrighted music, because we can't do that on YouTube. They'll block the video. And then for the iTunes version and the Podomatic version, we will have some good music. We'll also have those movie clips that you listened to in the first episode. So if you're listening and you put in the effort to listen on iTunes, you will actually get a special little treat in that way that it's going to sound a little different rather than the bad techno music that we put on the YouTube version. So yeah, that was actually pretty interesting to see how you guys listen. Also we had a choice that out of all the votes, it got the highest percentage that you didn't even know we have an FC podcast. I know half that was joking, but still, I thought that was funny. Also, we will have a very special guest coming up. He was actually the first to volunteer, when we told him about this project. So stay tuned for that. It really is a great interview. He's known as the godfather of FC, he's the VIP, the most important person. And he really had a lot of great stories. We recorded that interview, on Tuesday of this week, and it was a great experience, great conversation with this person. So stay tuned. That's going to come up right after this break, our interview with this mystery person. Stay tuned. We'll be right back here at the FC Podcast. All right, and welcome back into the FC podcast. Toast is now joining me.
Yes.
Toast, we have a guest. Tell us who he is.
Yeah, we do. We actually have the very founder of FC himself, the infamous Raz Vader.
Oh, hi.
Raz, I think what we're going to ask you first, just so everybody kind of knows, like, you know, how old are you, and what is your current, like, you know, job in FC?
Okay, well, my age, I feel old, but I'm not too much older than you guys, but I'm 24 years young. And I'm supposed to do, and I haggle everybody. So if you fuck up, and if you royally fuck up, you're going to be answering to me.
Alright, now this is the infamous question. How did FC start? Where did it all begin?
How did it all start? Do you want me to talk about how I first got into the whole war sim, or FC community itself?
Oh yeah, totally. Start from the very beginning.
Okay, well, I was a young lad of 15 years old. I remember back in the days of Halo 2, I had one buddy of mine, his name was Silver Dagger, and he just invited me to a game, and we were on Coagulation, we were playing bumper cars, and all of a sudden, he asked me a question. He's like, Raz. I'm like, what? He's like, do you want to join a war? I'm like, what are you talking about, a war? The war between red and blue. What do you mean, the matchmaking? I'm already playing the war. What are you talking about? He's like, no, it's not matchmaking. I didn't get it at all. And he's like, whatever, I said. And he sent me an invite the one night. He's like, Raz, this is boot camp. I'm like, you're fucking kidding me, right? In my head, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? What the fuck is boot camp? I actually messaged Silver Dagger and I'm like, dude, Silver, I can't do this. I can't do this at all. He's like, be patient, Raz, be patient. I'm like, alright, we go to the boot camp, we run, I think we were on Avalanche, if you guys remember that map in Halo 2. We ran to the middle of the map, and Rude Fire Beavers, I think, was our drill instructor. He was in blue. I got recruited into the blue army, the blue faction, at the time. And he started talking, he talked about up-downs and salute, and all that I passed on that everybody knows about now. And back then it was a 3-day long boot camp, because after the first day I'm like, dude, fuck this. Like, come on, man. You know you want to be part of this. Just 2 more days. So the following days ahead of us, we continued on, and the next day we did like an obstacle course, and then the final day we did graduation. It was so cool. You guys remember Ivory Tower?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we had like a ceremony of the recruits graduating, and you guys remember that waterfall?
Yeah.
In the middle of the map? And
Yes.
the recruits would go into that waterfall one at a time, and snipers would be lined up on, like right above them. So as the recruit walks down through the waterfall in the middle of the map, each drill instructor would fire a sniper rifle over the heads, and the recruit just felt so epic. So I was going down, into the waterfall. I saluted my drill instructor. He was like, Raz, congratulations, you have ascended to the rank of sergeant. I'm like, son of a bitch. I was never a private. Motherfucker. It was, the clan I was a part of, it was Red vs. Blue Wars, and it was ran by DX Doug. And, in a matter of, I think it was a month, I got to the rank of general, and the rank of general back then was the highest you could be in a faction, if you can believe that. Mm-hmm. And, I had a lot of ideas. I really wanted to improve, the community. I liked it. I liked where it was going, and I talked to DX Doug, and he's like, no, we're not doing that, blah, blah, blah. You've only been here for a month. You don't know anything, blah, 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 blah. Like, that really irritated me and the rest of the army, so I talked to my army high command, and I talked to a couple squad leaders, and I'm like, guys, I don't think this is gonna work out. You wanna start your own shit? And I'm like, fuck yeah, start your own shit. So I take all my members, and we create the Chronicles of War. And that, my friends, is a whole nother story that I can get into if you'd like me to.
Yes,
do it.
Okay, Chronicles of War. Basically, it was a new concept that I had, and the rest of the leaders was like, no, we're not gonna have 2 armies, we're gonna have 4.
Oh,
I don't remember the color, but we definitely had red, blue, and I think the other colors were yellow and green. And this was still in Halo 2. And I think I was the leader of blue yet. I had someone else in red, and yellow and green, I don't remember, it was so long ago. That lasted, I think, a period of, maybe a month tops, because it was just so dysfunctional, and we couldn't get on at all. It was a fucking mess.
Uh-huh.
So, that was Chronicles of War. Didn't last very long. After that, we had Allies vs. Axis, but I didn't find that. That was founded by a card M6, and Allies vs. Axis was a concept where you can bring Halo 2 into, World War 2 into Halo 2. And you had 4 armies, but it was basically, they were allies. So you had the Americans and the Soviets, they were allies, and then the Germans and Japanese. And I joined the American side, and I got to General, which at the time I think that was only second in command, and I was under a guy named DTX Spaz. Do you remember him, Gunny?
The name sounds familiar. I don't think I've ever met him, though.
Yeah, he was an asshole. But basically, that lasted for maybe 2 months, and then Akard M6, the founder of that, got all crazy, and we disbanded, and the whole war thing we had a break from that for a while. And then one of my buddies, who was part of Allies vs. Axis, his name was Neth Private Tucker, NTH Private Tucker. And he came up to me, he's like, Raz, I miss the wars. I'm like, Tucker, I miss them too. So we all went into the lobby. It was me, Tucker, it was Spartan BH. I met him through another friend of mine, and he was leading his own clan. I said, hey, you want to join, RVBR Retaliation or Red vs. Blue Retaliation? He's like, yeah, whatever. You know how Spartan can be. And we all got in the lobby. It was me, him, Tucker, Matt Squirrely Dude, and we started the Red vs. Blue Retaliation Wars, and it was amazing. And that was our heyday when we first started, and we recruited people like Ghost Hammer, who's still around, Eerie, Killer Gunny, you joined at that time, and
yeah,
it was by far the best time. And I have a lot of stories from there, but I can keep going on, but that's how it all started. That's how this whole Forerunner Conflict thing started, and I never thought that it would become this big.
Raz, you brought something up in there when you were talking about the boot camps and, just how epic they were in, a 3-day span. Would you ever want to, implement something on that kind of scale with, FC, you think?
Honestly, I don't think we can do that right now, just because of how big we are, and I think the generation now just doesn't have the patience for something like that. It's hard enough to get more than one person in a boot camp nowadays with everybody's schedule. So, the boot camps now, I think they're running about an hour tops, maybe. So that's fine. That's cool, but no one will ever experience what I experienced back in Red vs. Blue Wars.
I guess the other thing that I'd like to know, I recently joined up, but I've kind of known about the community for quite a while through Gunny, just because I've been friends with him for years. Right. I remember even back when it was RVBR before it was FC, and my question is, when did the name change occur, and why exactly did you guys change the name?
Okay, well, I was brought an old member, Tyranny90. He actually came up with a name. We're trying to get a new name because we were trying to get away from Red vs. Blue because back then Rooster Teeth, or the series that they made Red vs. Blue.
Yeah.
Just way similar, because we had a lot of new recruits coming in like, oh, I love your episodes. I'm like, no, we didn't make those. So, that's why that was probably one of the main reasons why we wanted to change it, and plus it was too similar to the war we left, which was Red vs. Blue Wars, where I took the entire army and left. And we just wanted something fresh and different, and Tyranny's like, Forerunner Conflict. And I loved the name. Not all the leaders liked it at first because they were so used to RVBR, but after we changed our name, and Micro Jupiter, also one of the founders, made our first website and forums, which is still up today that you can still view, and that's how it all started. So that's why we created Forerunner Conflict.
What's the website for that, if anybody wants to?
Oh, jeez. It's an Envision free. So if you just search Forerunner Conflict, it should be one of the first sites that come up. Just look for Envision free on Google. Make sure you search Google, because Bing and that other shit doesn't work. Oh, what do you do to search for stuff? I Bing, said no one ever.
Alright, so FC is going to turn 7 years old soon, on June 14th.
Yep.
What are some of the biggest changes you've noticed since you first made the community and from the current days now?
Oh boy. Biggest changes? Obviously, how complex it is right now. When we first started, we had a simple war map, and all it was one army picking that map, and the other army picking that map, and you just fought. There was no auxiliary battles, there were no troop counts, there were no perks, there was no war economics. But that was something that, in the back of my head and the rest of the leaders, always thought about doing. And I remember, like, all those nights we came up on, like, war council meetings and we discussed, hey, let's have, like, economy, let's have perks. And we're like, no, we just don't have the resources for that. And, so that, I have to say, is probably the biggest change, is how complex it is, and especially with the war map now. Metadust that's making is just phenomenal, and it's just amazing. And with Mythonian at the helm of being the war director right now, and I can't, honestly, this was stuff I always dreamed about having, and now we have it. It brings almost a tear to my eye.
You know, speaking about the subject of change, I guess, like, you know, I mean, you've got the entire history under your belt of FC. If there was anything you could change about the current generation of FC, what do you think it would be?
Respect your elders. Really. Honestly. No. Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, I can't think of anything else. Just, I think they have to be a little more respectful on how we used to be. I mean, current generation, they think they can do, you know, I'm not trying to piss you guys off. You think you can do whatever the fuck you want. But, you know, you have me, you have Ghost Hammer, and you have everybody else that's been here for a while overwatching you, trying to, you know, draw a line for you guys to follow, and just be a little more respectful, I guess. And so, that's probably what I would want to change, is have the new generation to be a little more respectful.
Yeah, you know, that void has always been there between the veterans and the new blood, and really, I wish that would disappear, because it causes so many unneeded problems and so much bullshit, you know? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to open up to the new generation. I've been, you know, talking to a few of the blue guys like Jamie and Zukov, and every time I sign on Xbox, I'm in red right now, and, you know, and they always send me an invite first. That's pretty cool. And I get to play with them, and, you know, they're not bad. Not all of them are bad.
So, in all of your time here in RVBR and FC, what is probably your best memory or moment?
Okay, you guys heard the stories of how I made, a few members cry?
I've heard those, yeah.
I actually haven't, and I don't know if everybody out there listening has, so why don't you, go ahead and tell us?
It has to be probably the best moments, sad moments and best moments. I say sad because I kind of feel bad that I made them cry, but it was still awesome because it was funny that I made them cry. Now, Micro Jupiter. Now,
No.
if you're listening, I don't think you were crying. It almost sounded like you were crying, and it's actually still out there. Razgriz 1988 second montage. I kind of recorded his voice when I had a capture card back in the day, so you can check that out. But when he first went through my boot camps, he graduated, he became like a private first class. He was a low rank, and I heard him call me gay, and, in a custom game, and I was pissed off about it. You don't disrespect your higher ups like that at all. You don't call them gay. So I yelled at him, I disciplined him, I kicked him out of the game, and he felt kind of bad. And he sent me a message, he's like, Rez, I'm sorry I disrespected you, sir, but, you know, I'd like to be part of RVBR if, you know, I'll run around laps or do some up downs or something. Just send me an invite. And then he sends me another message soon after, he's like, oh, I see it as, you gotta be at the top of the list to play with Raz. Razgriz 1988, you gotta be the top of the list to play with Raz. He was great, but now he's doing pretty successful. He's pretty successful right now. He has his own, photography company. He's, does a lot of wedding stuff, so he's an awesome guy. So this was just a little poking fun. But the second guy I made cry was a guy named BK32, and he was a squeaker. So I don't know how old he was. But he did something in the Red Army where I forget what he did, but I did a lashing of a punishment. I was probably like 16 at the time, and, I had all the time in the world. So what I did was I invited him with the rest of my high command, And I said, alright, BK, if you want to be part of this army, you're gonna have to do something for me. He's like, yes sir. So I started the game up. I told him to run to the middle of coagulation. I there met him with myself and the other high command officers. I took the sniper rifle, I pointed it to his head, and I shot him. And I told him, BK, in this voice that I'm talking right now, he's like, come back to the middle of the map. He didn't say a word. He came to the middle of the map, he faced me, he saluted me, I didn't salute him back, he stood up, I sniped him again in the head. I'm like, BK, run back. He ran back again. And, well, guess what happened? Can any of you guys guess?
He got shot in the face.
Wow. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. So, I got bored of that, and I I got a Scorpion tank, and I told him to go to the middle of the map, and I kept killing him, and then I made him run around coagulation for about 30 minutes. Told him to finally come back. He's like, BK, do you think you've earned my respect? Then I hear a whimper sound coming from the other end of his mic. I shit you not. He was like, yes. I was dead silent. I didn't even laugh. I turned to my other drill instructors and I'm like, I think he's learned his lesson. I ended the game. I booted him. I will never forget that moment. Priceless, unforgettable. And BK, if you're out there, I'm sure you're not a squeaker anymore, but wow.
So, Raz, you mentioned, I think, Raz Grizz, which I'm assuming is your older gamer tag. Would you mind talking about your older gamer tags, your current one, and, the story behind all of them?
Yeah. My very first gamer tag was Raz Grizz 1988. It's actually pronounced Raz Grizz 1988. That name came from an old PlayStation 2 game that I used to play, Ace Combat 5, The Unsung War. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but the squadron there was the Demons of Rosgrees, and it was awesome. I was big in fighter planes and stuff, and they were all black, and then that was immediately cool. So when I got Xbox Live for the first time, I couldn't think of a name. I'm like, Rosgrees, sounds good. But all the friends that I started to meet just called me Raz and Raz Grizz, and I got tired of telling them that's not how you pronounce my name. It's Rosgrees. And Spark made a comment, like, it sounds like some French opera singer. Rosgrees. Like, yeah, I guess Raz is better.
To be honest, it kind of reminds me of Ra's al Ghul more than anything.
Yeah. No, I didn't think of that though. No, that's not where the name originally came from, but no, over the years I got tired of Razgriz, so I went through a lot of gamer tags. Like, I can list some of them, I can't list all of them. One of the notable ones was, okay, I met a guy, his name was Babe V in a blender. But everyone, it sounds like baby in a blender.
Yeah.
And, I was bored one day and I decided to create a baby gamer tag, and I created Baby in a Toaster.
Yes! Yes!
There was that one. I had another name for a little while called Synthetic. One of my other noticeable ones was Raz Vicious, and that one is a good one. Raz for obviously because everyone knew me as Raz Grizz, but Vicious was because, my favorite porn star.
Oh boy.
My favorite porn star was Liz Vicious. So I just took off Liz and put Raz in the beginning, and hey, Raz Vicious. And I'd probably still have that name today if it wasn't for when I got hacked. Because when I got hacked, they changed my gamer tag and I couldn't get it back. So I had to think of another one. I had Raz Cynic, and that didn't last very long. And then finally Raz Vader stuck because I love Darth Vader and Star Wars, so I'm sporting Raz Vader and I'm loving that gamer tag ever since.
Alright, let's get a little more current. As you know, FC recently partnered up with Halo Unity. Can you talk about what that means to the community?
Okay, well, my hat's off to Platinum. He's the one that initiated this whole thing. And I didn't even hear about Halo Unity until he talked to me about it. So I checked out their website, I signed up, and there was a Forerunner Conflict group already for us. MechKill, I think, or Mythonian, Metadust created it, and I was talking to him, and he gave me ownership of the group on HaloUnity.com, and I got in touch with the administrator there. And what Halo Unity is basically a community of members, it's a bunch of communities together that form Halo Unity. And I guess their goal at Halo Unity is for all these communities to post on Halo Unity's website, like post events, tournaments, giveaways, and stuff like that in all one centralized location. So to me, joining Halo Unity means branching off to all these other communities that post with Halo Unity. We already have the real forums checking us out, and I believe they want a partnership with us as well, and I'm also in the process of talking with them, hopefully soon. But I've been, busy with so many things. And, the Good Gaming Network I want to check out as well. They don't know. It's kind of hard. Their site's kind of difficult to navigate. I don't know who to contact. So I might have to go to Halo Unity to message them there because they're part of Halo Unity as well. So I'm hoping we can expand even more. We're big now, but we can get even bigger. My ultimate goal is to see if we can actually get sponsored and we can actually get paid to stay a community for as long as this Halo games keep coming out.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yes, it would.
So, also talking about current, we have this whole Halo Unity thing, but also you started this side project, known as the, recruitment video project. What exactly is that? I know that's fairly recent.
Yeah, I just actually posted today while I was at work. What happened there was, we always needed like some sort of recruitment video, and that's always been tossing around, and we had a really good one back in Halo 2, but ever since then, we haven't any, one that came to par with that one. But what I really want to start doing with that is for new recruits, it's aimed at. And what I want, the explanation of what FC is, talk about the leaders and founders, how to navigate the website a bit, who to contact, the history, what we're all about. It's aimed at the new recruit, and I want that to be part of the welcome message to when new recruits actually sign up. And instead of reading all this, garbage, not really garbage, but let's face it, when a new recruit signs up on our site, it seems daunting. It seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there was a video that could explain everything for them, it would probably be a lot easier, and it wouldn't be so much confusion that I keep seeing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I even agree with that. Being somebody who signed up recently, I signed up while I was over at Gunny's house. So with him being familiar with the forums, I kind of had a quick reference that was like, wait, where are we going here? Or, oh, you guys aren't using HTML, you're using BB code, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it was definitely nice to kind of have that there. And I think a video or some kind of tutorial guide for new recruits would definitely be helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I'm trying to aim at. I haven't gotten any messages yet, so if you guys are listening, I can use some help. And by the way, I'll be given a prize if we actually get it done within a month.
I remember we had something like that a good old vet, AOD Deadeye did. He had a little introduction video for new recruits on the site.
Yeah, that didn't, that died off soon because of the upgrades and everything, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's actually what our service announcement for this week's podcast will be. Get in contact with Raz and see what he needs you guys to do. I'm sure he could use plenty of different able bodies out there for help. I know I'm willing to help Raz, and I'm pretty sure Gunny here would be, able to help as well.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. The biggest thing is I need filmmakers, someone with a capture card to film in-game stuff.
Gunny has one if he is willing to actually hook it up.
He was actually telling me about that, and he's like, Raz, I have a capture card here. I'm like, oh, that's great, let's do it. Oh, it might not work. You son of a bitch.
I go over and game with him all the time, and we have tons of hilarious moments, and multiple times we've talked about doing kind of like this podcast, but just like video game commentary of our playthroughs of stuff. And it always boils down to, well, let's do it. And he's like, that's work. I don't want to track it out and plug it in.
Oh, Gunny, you know how long you've been a part of FC. Work pays off. That's not hard. Come on, Gunny.
There are so many cords with that thing, but actually my main concern is that, that HD PVR that I have, it requires special software to record with, and I'm not sure if I have that software disk around. That's my big concern.
Oh, man.
But yeah, getting something like that would be very helpful, because I know it probably is pretty daunting for new recruits to look at that site, and they really don't know what to do. I mean, I know I've seen new recruits post in the wrong forums all the time, and they have to be, moved to a new forum, because they post in the wrong forum. So, I think that would be really, really helpful.
Well, let's hope we can get it done.
Alright, so we're nearing the end of this interview, and I want to give you the chance to give a shout out to anyone, if you would like to.
Okay. Well, before the shout out, I have a story today that happened to me.
Okay.
I was on my way home from work to do this interview today, and a car in front of me slows down, and I saw this figure across the street. And, I live up in Pennsylvania, kind of up in the mountains, but not really. And there's this motherfucking wolf that comes right out of the fucking middle of the road. He was looking all around, and I almost hit him, and he actually jumps over my car.
What?
That, in my mind, I'm like, that was fucking cool, but that was a wolf. I'm like, it was a dog wolf, or it looked confused or something. But anyway, shout outs. Spartan BH, you're the gayest Jew I know, but you're the awesome Jew. Killer Gunny, you're here, but I'm shouting out anyway. You're awesome. Mythonian Robot, if you haven't been here, if it wasn't for you, I don't know where FC would have been. We would be surviving, but it would not have been as epic as it is now. I can't fucking talk. Yeah, it is the end of this interview. You can tell. It's 12:15 in the morning over here. By the way, how does it feel living in the past? I'm living in the future. How does it feel living in the past over there?
I think California's weather makes up for it personally, but.
Shit, you got me.
You guys that question in a couple days when I go to London here, so.
Yeah, here you're gonna go there. That's pretty cool. I myself have not been out and about of this fucking country. I wish I could do that one day. Take me with you?
I would. I don't know where you'd stay. I don't know if my girlfriend's dorm will be able to accommodate more than just me.
Fuck. Man, I need to work, and, I have my own life too, so that sucks. Yeah. Whatever.
As long as there aren't kids.
What's that?
I said as long as kids aren't involved.
Yes, as long as kids aren't involved. Fuck kids. Well, my girlfriend has kids, and they're okay, I guess. They kind of keep to themselves. But no, they're fine.
They don't bother Preston, so they're fine.
Yeah, as long as they don't bother me, and as long as I don't have to pay for their diapers and food.
So I think, since we're nearing the end here, I think we'll open up the floor to you, Res, if there's anything else, you want to discuss or any other kind of stories that you want to kind of tell.
Oh, boys. I can't think of one right now on the top of my head, which is weird. No, wait. I do have one. The Waterworks battle. Gunny, were you a part of that?
Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about Hill 30, Waterworks. I forget which army won, but one army won by 1 second.
I was not in that. I know Erie was in that Hill 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the beginning stages of Blackheart. And I don't know what army I was on, but I know I was on the losing army. But it was the first time a game was that close. Like, that close of a game, and you could feel it. Your adrenaline was pumping. It was nuts. And at the end of the game, as it ended, the entire lobby was like, "Oh my god, holy shit, what the fuck was that?" I wish we can explain it, but it was one of those situations where you had to be there. You had to be there.
I know Phoenix was telling a story about the last battle of the Halo 2 wars on Terminal and the Hill 30 game that came down to the last second.
Yeah, that I wasn't a part of, unfortunately.
That
I was a part of.
I'm starting to notice a little trend here in the community. It seems like we get towards, very big battles and they come down to 1 second in a game of Hill 30.
Yeah.
We got, you just described Raz, we've got the one that Phoenix was talking about. We had the Hill 30 match here ending the first war of Halo 4, which was really close.
I gotta tell you something though about Hill 30. It was an original game created by Spartan BH.
Yeah.
And if anybody tells you different, they are fucking lying. Because I never played that game before Spartan BH introduced it to us in Halo 2. And back in Halo 2, that was when you played Hill 30. That was when it was at its peak. It was amazing. And back then, Hill 30 was a territories game, but it was only one territory. So when you capture the territory in Halo 2, on the flag that pops up, it actually sports your emblem, which was the coolest. Like, when your army runs up to the flag and you see a certain person's emblem, you know who took that hill. It was the best feeling. And when I took hill on Hill 30 and people saw, my emblem is like, yes, Raz took the hill. I'm like, yeah, I did. And now Hill 30, with all these Halo game upgrades and shit, it's just not the same. It's just not how it used to be.
Yeah, I was just about to ask if that's something that you'd want 343 to definitely change about the way in which they do things in Halo 4 and the games to come.
Yes, if they are listening, bring back territories and with the flag and emblems and bring that back. I want it now.
Well, they must be listening because, a week after we put out our whole spiel talking about how we feel the Red X should be re-included, they did it. So I'm going to assume that they're listening to us.
I heard about that. That is awesome. That's supposed to be happening soon, and I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll definitely be sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Raz, I think it's getting late for you, and we've taken up quite a bit of your time. I think both I speak for myself and Gunny here when I say thank you for coming on the show and, saying everything you've done so far.
Oh no, thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure. I've always liked doing this stuff. I like what you're doing. Keep the podcast rolling. We desperately need a regular one again.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that so much. So much.
And definitely thank you. I think this goes out to from everybody in FC even. Thank you for, the work you did in forming this. I would definitely say that FC is in a way kind of like your child. Very much like the podcast is mine and Gunny's.
Absolutely. FC has been my child ever since we founded it back in 2006 that summer. And I'll never forget it. And you can call me now Granddaddy Raz. I know Monkey already does, so. This is my baby, and you guys are flourishing and you guys are making it better. It's to the point where, I don't have to do much instead of just overseeing and making sure you guys are following the founding principles, having fun and being respectful. That's basically it.
So that's it, you guys. You all heard it here first. Definitely start referring to Raz as Granddaddy Raz. And, Gunny, I think after we come back from this break here, we've got, quite a few other good segments here for the rest of the people listening in.
Yeah, I would definitely say that. Stay tuned.
So yeah, stay tuned. We will be back right after this break, everyone.
Welcome back into the FC podcast. Toast is here joining me. Toast, that was a good interview with Raz, wasn't it?
It was great. He definitely, we got some information about the history of FC, and I think everybody out there wants to hear about that. And, it was just great to have the founder on the show.
Yeah, it really was. He had some very good stories and some great background on the history of Forerunner Conflict and RVBR, and especially about the other community he was a part of. You usually don't hear those stories.
Yeah, I know. If it hadn't been for Phoenix mentioning it to us, the interview that we had with him afterwards, I wouldn't have even known about it. I wouldn't have even known to ask.
Yeah, kudos to Phoenix. After we were done with our interview, we talked with him for a little bit, and we told him we were planning to have Raz on the next show, and he gave us a heads up to ask him about the community it was in before FC, and it turned out great.
Yeah, it definitely did.
So, I was surfing the internet, and I saw this article on Wired.com about some new leaked info about the new Xbox.
This I can hear.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Of course it's all rumors and leaked info, but, we know
about rumors, cough cough, Half-Life 3.
Oh, yeah, but, it was very interesting. It said in there that the new Xbox plans to be always on and always connected, and basically, that means you can't turn it off unless you unplug. Like, apparently there is no on or off switch on this thing. when you plug it in, it is on, and they have they have a low power mode, so it's not like sucking up all the power when it's on. But, they said the reason they're doing that is so that it can download updates immediately, and that it can just get information to you quicker instead of turning your Xbox on and off all the time.
See, that slightly concerns me, and I'm not totally sure why. I feel like we're gonna have overheating issues for some reason.
Yeah, but, once again, there are two power states. They have like a low power mode, and then of course the regular on power mode.
Yeah, I'm confident in their ability to do it well. It's just, especially after the 360 was originally released without a full-on fan that could actually cool the system well. I mean, I'm just a little skeptical of their ability to run something for that long.
Yeah, and of course, Kinect is going to be shipped with every Xbox, so there is no option to buy one without Kinect. And one of my worries is, call me a fucking tinfoil hat guy, but I feel like they might use that to spy on us while we sleep or something.
Tinfoil hat Eli, I like this. I like where this is going. It's a nice image.
Yeah, but you think about that, they want Kinect shipped with every console. I think we're going to see that implemented a lot more than it already is.
Yeah, and I think that'll definitely be nice. What I want to see them do is I want them to get better at detecting motion. And it's not so much that I understand that we're still technically limited in our ability to do that, especially on a mass production scale.
Yeah.
But the Kinect was great. It just, you've seen it multiple times, Gunny, when I've used it, and it's just kind of like, it doesn't want to detect my hands. Or when our friend, Cass uses it, and he has long hair like I do, and if he doesn't pull it back, it doesn't register his face.
Yeah, I remember that. It was pretty funny. But they do say it's going to be improved, which I hope it is, because the Kinect I don't really use for gaming. The only thing I use it for is I talk to it to play Netflix or open my disc tray. That's all it's good for.
Oh, and everybody out there, I know Gunny's Kinect response to this. See if yours does. If you do have a Kinect, say sex box instead of Xbox. And about 80% of the time, it's gonna respond to you regardless. Even if you say it in this really bad Russian accent, if you're like, sex box, it still will use it just fine.
Another fun thing I like to do is I like to go, you can Bing search things, and you can just say whatever you want and see what pops up. It's pretty interesting when you're bored.
Yeah, you've searched some pretty weird shit before. I'm not even gonna start enumerating that.
Yeah, but back on the Xbox, apparently there's also gonna be a new controller. They're gonna ditch the 360 design, which I know I love, and I know many other people love. I mean, even PC gamers love that design because they love using it on the PC.
Yeah, it's great. It's incredibly ergonomic. I feel that everything is placed perfect. I feel it has nice weight distribution. And for me, that's incredibly important. Like, my major complaint with the PS3 controller and the PlayStation 2 controller, to be completely frank, is that it feels like I'm going to break it. Like, I have large man hands. And I feel like I'm going to snap this thing in half because it feels like it's made out of cheap-ass plastic, which it probably is. But that aside, the Xbox isn't made out of much better plastic. It has, it feels sturdier, I guess.
Yeah, the article didn't go into too much detail about what this new controller would look like, just that it'll improve the UI with the Xbox, and not much else, but I'm definitely gonna look forward to seeing what that's gonna be.
I think, didn't you also say they were planning on improving the ergonomics of it?
Yes, also that, but they didn't go into much detail other than that.
That really confuses me, because I'm looking at the 360 controller right now, and I'm like, how the hell do you improve the ergonomics on that?
Yeah, definitely. And also, they say that now when you buy a game, it's going to force you to install the game on your hard drive, and after that, the disc becomes useless.
Well, then my question is, what the hell's the point of even buying the disc? Like, I might as well just get everything through the online marketplace then.
Yeah, exactly, but I guess because they want it to be convenient for people who go out and shop so they can still buy the game in like a store instead of, having to go on the Xbox marketplace and using their credit card or something that they might not feel comfortable using to buy it.
Well, then what they can do is if they want to go out and shop, then just have a code for the game that you download.
Oh, very good point, but I guess, I think what they're thinking about are the people who love to collect games and have these giant game collections, and they like the cases and that sort of thing. Because I know I've seen people online, they've expressed their concern over the digital market because they love having the physical media.
Yeah, and I can definitely understand that. The other thing that concerns me about this, though, is the fact that can the disc then be downloaded onto another hard drive, or is it a one-time use?
It's probably a one-time use.
Because, see, that disturbs me, because essentially what that's going to do is there's no more sharing of video games.
Yeah.
Which, I understand that they want to protect their business and everything, but let's face it, they don't need more business. They're not going to need more business. They don't lose money between roommates sharing a video game.
Yeah.
And the other thing that concerns me is you're going to run groups like GameFly pretty much out of business if consoles start doing that.
Yeah, and I wonder if there'll be an alternative where you can just buy a disc instead of putting it on the hard drive, but for some reason I doubt it. And also what that concern brings up is if you're going to be installing all these games, those games are multiple gigabytes of memory, and you're gonna need some pretty big hard drives to store all those games.
That I'm not so much concerned with. I mean, now there are certain computers that even just come with a standard terabyte hard drive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not so much concerned about the space. I'm more concerned about essentially what this is going to do to business. I mean, this will even especially hurt places like GameStop that have a huge market in the resale value of these games.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. I wonder what they're going to do with this. I mean, it might kill off the used game market. I know I heard something about PS4 they're going to have this special thing in place where they're not going to allow you to have used games or something. I'm really worried about that because the used game market is huge. I know I use it from time to time on games that I might have missed out on in the past and I want to buy. And
yeah.
I don't want to go and pay a full $60 to buy a new copy.
Well, not only a full $60, it's the fact that these games aren't being constantly produced.
Yeah.
So if you are a collector and you find a series that you want, theoretically you could still get it on the marketplace as long as their marketplace is all inclusive.
Yeah.
But you still have that problem. And then the other question is if everything needs to be installed on the hard drive, what about backwards compatible games?
Definitely, yeah, that brings up another good point, because I know I have a bunch of original Xbox games, and then when the new Xbox comes out, I'm gonna have a lot more 360 games that I've had, and I want to be able to play those without having to hook up my 360. Because what I want to do when I get the new Xbox is take my 360, put it somewhere in a box, and just keep it there. I don't want to have to take it back out to play it, you know? I want to play all my 360 games and my original Xbox games on this new Xbox. That just baffles me why you don't have backwards compatibility. It makes no sense to me. And I swear to God, if they have this online marketplace where you're forcing me to rebuy these games, I will fucking flip shit. I'm like, I'm not gonna rebuy a game that I already have sitting right fucking next to me. That's bullshit.
Oh man. All in all, the only things that I really want from it is I want it to be backwards compatible. I guess I'm up for a new controller. I'd have to definitely see it in practice though.
Yeah.
I like how they're doing automatic updates. I like how connected it sounds like it's going to be. That actually kind of sounds like a bonus to me, but I don't know, this talk about having to download the games and the possibility of it being one-time use. I mean, despite these even just being rumors, it's still kind of a scary thought.
Yeah, it is. It very much is. I'd love more information on this. And also the name, nothing has been released about that. All we know is the code name Durango, and then everyone anywhere is referring to it as the Xbox 720, though it's very doubtful that's going to be the name, even though
that has to be the name. That has to be the name. I've expressed this in our first podcast. I want it to be called the 720.
Yeah, I was reading a Kotaku article a few months back, and they said that a leaked document said it was going to be referred to as Xbox Infinity, or just the Xbox.
Yeah, let's not have that argument again.
Yeah.
The other thing that actually I wonder about is, are you going to be able to use live on 360 games from this console?
I'm not sure. I know, when the 360 was released and Halo 2 was an original Xbox game, you could still pop that in your 360 and use it, and play online. And you can even play with original Xbox owners. And I really wonder if they're gonna do that same thing or something similar when let's call it the 720 comes out and you have games that recently came out for the 360. Can those 360 people play with the 720 people?
Especially because, I mean, considering that the PS4 is going to be coming out soon, this is probably going to be released around the same time, and we've got big games that are going to have a very extensive multiplayer that'll last a while. I mean, Destiny's one of them. GTA, I know that that's coming out, and not everybody looks towards Rockstar for great multiplayer, but I know that's something that they're focusing on even more after the success of the Red Dead multiplayer.
Yeah, one thing I would like to see, I know a lot of people our game developers are very hesitant to do this, but I would like to see multiplayer games that are across multiple consoles, like Call of Duty or even Destiny that's coming out. I would love to be able to play with someone as an Xbox user, play with someone who's playing on the PS4. That would be awesome. Yeah,
I definitely would. And the way that I see it is in terms of servers and everything, I don't technically think there would be a big problem. If there are any of you tech geeks out there that could explain, for example, if there might be a problem with screen lag because they have different processors or something like that, if you guys could explain to us why that wouldn't work, please do. By all means, I'd love to know. But just from the way in which I'm thinking about it, I don't think there should be a problem. And especially with Destiny coming out, I know we're both really looking forward to that. It's being released on damn near every platform, except Nintendo, but Nintendo's in the shadow of everybody right now, so they're not really relevant.
Yeah, I think the only game that I can come to think that had a system like that where you could play with people on other platforms was a game called Shadowrun that came out, I believe, the summer before Halo 3 came out, and it was on the Xbox and it was on the PC, and you could play with people on the PC and the Xbox at the same time. I thought that was pretty cool, but I believe that's the only game that I can come to mind that has done something like that.
Well, then there you go. If they were able to do it back before Halo 3 even, and with that amount of technology, I'm damn well expecting it this time then.
Yeah, I to be honest, I don't know if that's going to happen though, because, Sony and Microsoft are competitors in the market. PC developers are a little more lenient because they don't really have like a side, so to say.
Yeah, definitely. And so I think, Gunny, we're going to transition here, and actually speaking about live, this is going to be your guys' chance, you people in the community that are listening, to give back. Gunny and I were recently talking to Raz, and during our interview, and this was actually afterwards, and it turns out that his Xbox Live was about to run out, and he was, I think, he said he was going to be able to cover it this time, wasn't he?
What are you talking about?
He was going to be able to cover the expense of renewing his Live account.
He said he couldn't. And
I thought he had said that he found some other way. Well, Raz, if you still don't, let us know. Anyway, what I was going to, this got me thinking. And I've realized that we have people like Raz, and we have people that are bigger and everything, and we have people that are important to this community, and I mean just the whole community in general. And quite often, people fall into hard times or whatever's going on in their personal life, and they can't continue their Live subscription. And so they have to be inactive for a while. And Gunny, it got me thinking, and it got me a little concerned, and I was thinking, we already have usually more donations each month than we need. But I don't really want that money to go towards buying accounts. And then you said that you'd actually have, that's what the solution was. You had that 14-day code.
From Halo 4.
That you said you'd be able to give to Raz. And that got me thinking, why can't we as a community start a stockpile of these codes that no one needs?
Yeah.
I know, for example, my year subscription is going to carry me through probably until the next 720 because I recently renewed it.
Yeah.
But there are plenty of games that ship with some kind of free trial, or you get them all the time. You get them everywhere. And so what I want everybody to do is, if you have these codes and you don't need them, I'm going to set up probably a system, I'm going to set up somewhere in the forums, talk to moderators, etc., and see if we can't get a stockpile of these codes going. And if you guys ever need to renew your Live and everything, essentially what you do is I'm going to set it up to where you would have to fill out an application, and we'll review the application. It'll probably be me and Gunny, since we're the ones heading it, and probably, Myth or Metadust or somebody else,
Yeah.
And we'll review the application, and if we feel that you definitely do need it or how long you need it, we'll be able to provide you with that code just to get you through until the next paycheck.
Yeah, I think that's a really awesome idea. I know people in the past have had problems renewing their Xbox Live subscription, and that's caused them to go inactive. And I know people have jumped to the cause to give them Xbox Live codes. I think it would be great to have kind of like a drive or like a little place where we can store these, and if people need them, we can give them out.
Yeah, because considering that people already kind of share amongst themselves, and considering, I know people that had to miss Capital Battle because their subscription literally went out the day before.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just, it's one of those things of being part of FC. You really want to make it to those events, not necessarily because your squad absolutely needs you, but more just because it's fun, and that's part of what being in the community is about. And I think that with us being the kind of community that we are, it would definitely be good for us to try to band together and maybe create, like I said, like a registry of all these codes for people to use.
Yeah, I know, I think every multiplayer game nowadays, or that has some sort of function where you have to be on Xbox Live to download something, they usually come with like a 48-hour or a 2-week subscription of like an Xbox Live Gold trial. And I know not everybody uses those, and the people that aren't using them, I think it would be great to give them a place where they can, give them to people in need.
So yeah, everybody out there, if you get those codes, I'll have this set up in probably maybe within the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be traveling a bit here, so I won't necessarily have it now. By the time you guys are listening to this, I'm actually going to be in London. We'll try to set it up afterwards. When we do, I'll let everybody in the community know, and you guys can start sending in codes. And you know what, Gunny, and this goes out to the community as well. If you guys feel this is a bad idea or it falls on its face, then so be it. If not, I think this could be something great for the community as a whole.
Yeah, it definitely can, and I really hope it doesn't fall back on its face. This could be great. It really could.
So Gunny and I were talking, and we realized that recently we've been very, very interview heavy in the show. And it's been pointed out to us that we're going to run out of people very, very soon. And this is something we thought of weeks ago. We're ahead of the game in this one. And I want to let everybody out there know that we're very interview heavy just because we're just starting. We had the Field Marshals as a pre-war show. We had Raz because we felt we should do the Founder justice and because we thought everybody would like to listen to Raz. And from this point on, essentially what we're going to do is we're going to start doing a bi-weekly interview. So essentially 1 week we'll have an interview, the next we won't. And now you guys are probably wondering, well, what are they going to fill their time with? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to start implementing segments. And we've had tons of ideas. We've had people write in with different ideas for segments. And the weeks where we're not doing an interview, we're just going to have these different talking points that we talk on. And the one that I want to bring you guys today is introducing for the very first time on this podcast is going to be known as Toast Tirade. For those of you who don't know, a tirade is essentially an incredibly angry rant. And for any of you guys who have ever been in an Xbox Live party with me and had somebody bring up some controversial issue, you can know just how heated I can get. I think Gunny here can attest to that one.
Very much so. You were like a debate champion here in California, so you really know.
I was a congressional debate champion here in California. I went all the way to the state finals, got into the final round, and at that point, I think I got, I want to say around 8th out of 15, which at that point, when it comes to congressional, when you put 16 of the best debaters in a room, it's kind of hard to judge it. We all kind of consider the award like moot at that point, like it doesn't really matter. But the fact of the matter is, I was a finalist. Congressional debating is what I did. I wanted to go into journalism. I've wanted to go into law. I've wanted to go into politics. So I think this rant is definitely going to be something that's informational for everybody, fun to listen to. And so without further ado, I bring you guys Toast Tirade.
Think for one fucking second. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Think for one fucking second. What don't you fucking understand? I'm gonna fucking kick your fucking ass. What don't you fucking understand?
Alright, so I've got something great for you guys today. Essentially what I'm going to point out is the problems with our current monetary system. Now for those of you out there wondering, well, what exactly is the monetary system? For those of you who don't know, it's essentially the way in which we run money and our economic trade within our financial sectors. Now, my problem with the financial sector currently isn't so much with the bank trade, even though that's one I'll get to in another week, or the way in which we give government kickbacks and subsidies. That's another interview for a whole nother fucking time. Right now, I actually want to talk about base currency. I want to talk about the money itself. And Gunny, you know what I want to do with the U.S. system in terms of our money?
What's that?
I want to get rid of the fucking penny. I want to get rid of the penny. And a lot of people out there say this all the time, and they see it as just because it's useless, but that's not the only reason I want to get used to it, or I want to get rid of it. The penny, right now, used to be all copper. Then they ended up moving to 95% copper and about 5% zinc sometime in the late 1800s. Now the penny is only 5% copper with 95% zinc content. Now for those of you guys out there who don't study the value of metals, the value of a penny in terms of its metal is 1.7 cents. 0.7 cents more than the average penny is worth. So essentially what this boils down to is that there's a waste of 1.7 approximately billion dollars of taxpayer money for every year, fiscal year of us minting pennies. We literally are wasting money by creating money. So there's another thing that people have suggested. It's, well, why don't we switch to cheaper materials? To which my response is, it doesn't so much matter because the penny fails on another aspect of money. Do you know what that is, Gunny? Do you know what the main reason we have money is?
To exchange goods and things.
Exchange goods. The number one reason for having a monetary system in place is to have the free exchange of goods through a monetary system. This optimizes trade, and the number one reason we have money is to facilitate that trade. Now, here's the problem with the penny. Due to inflation, the penny isn't really worth jack shit. And on top of it not being worth jack shit, nothing accepts it. If you think about the things that accept coins, and this is vending machines, this is, parking meters, this is all that other kind of stuff, nothing accepts the fucking penny. The only thing that accepts the penny is the Coinstar machine, which I think everybody here has seen. And those in and of itself are a leech on the economy, because essentially what you have is you have a machine that's charging you money to access your own fucking money. And I don't mean like an ATM fee where they're holding it for you. It's literally just them taking money right off the fucking top. So, and this isn't a new concept. We've done this before when a coin has essentially outlived its purpose. Back in 1857, the mint stopped producing the half-cent coin. We used to have a half-cent coin, which back in the day, that meant something, considering where prices used to be. And eventually it got to the point where it couldn't facilitate trade, it cost more to make than it was worth, and we essentially just disbanded it as a whole. So you guys are probably sitting there going, well, what do we do if we get rid of the penny? The simple solution is that we start rounding. We round essentially to the nearest 5 cent. However, I would even go as far as to say that we round to the nearest 10 cent. However, that I'd have to see more statistics for, because currently nickels even cost more to make than they're worth. Right now, to produce one nickel costs 7.7 cents. To make a 5-cent coin. So we're even losing money in the nickel trade. 2.7 cents for every one that's produced. That's actually more of a drain than the penny is. However, the simple solution there is, considering that nickels can still be used to facilitate trade, we should just reduce the value of the metals of which we are using to make this nickel. So for example, instead of using nickel and zinc and all that kind of stuff, we could essentially just start making, all zinc nickels. Much like our pennies are. And we could essentially bring down the, value of the metal. Or the value of the coin in relation to the metal, rather. So everybody sitting there is wondering, okay, so it doesn't facilitate trade. It's not worth that much. Does it have any other negative effects? Because everybody out there's probably sitting there thinking, I really like Lincoln, and I don't want to remove a coin that has Lincoln's face on it.
He's already on the $5 bill.
Yeah, he's on the $5. I noticed you said Dara. You said Dara. Anyway, What I'd like to point out again is that studies have been done, and it turns out that the average American wastes 2.4 hours a year handling pennies. Now, for those of you out there who are sitting there thinking, oh, that's not that big, that's only 2.5 hours, a year, that's not significant. I'll tell you right now, that is significant. We already, due to our biological clock, waste 1/3 of our life asleep. That's one of the whole reasons that I hate sleeping. Gunny can attest to this. I cannot stand going to sleep. It makes me so inefficient, I can't get stuff done. And so for me, wasting 2.4 hours, think about what I could do with that. That's 2.5 hours I could be spending with my girlfriend. That's 2.5 hours I could spend, trying to make other money, essentially, instead of sitting here and wasting it with pennies. So I'm gonna go back to the solution of rounding here for a second. And one of the major concerns with rounding is the cost. What happens if we round it? Prices go up, right? And what I'd like to point out is, yeah, technically, nominally, prices go up. But in terms of inflation, they're not going up that much. And the economy is going to be able to handle it just as well. The other concern that people have is charities. Charities like, all the different donations and the food banks and the Salvation Army, a large majority of their donations come from pennies that people don't want. However, what I'd like to point out is that none of the other countries who have ever done this recently have had a problem with that. And those countries, for those of you who are wondering, we've got Australia, Brazil, Denmark, Finland, Hungary, Malaysia, Mexico, the Netherlands, New Guinea, Norway, and Canada, all of which have eliminated their 1-cent coin. Now, to go even further, Hong Kong and Israel have completely done away with their equivalent of our nickel. And New Zealand, to top it all off due to inflation, has essentially removed their version of the dime. And you know what happened in every single one of those countries, Gunny? It ran just fucking fine. There was no goddamn problem. For example, some of the ones on that list, Denmark and Finland and the Netherlands, and Norway even, those are voted some of the happiest, most prosperous places in the entire fucking world.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
And they're running just fine. You guys are going to hear about those countries especially a lot in future tirades. Most of you are probably going to call me a European liberal, but whatever. I'd like to point out that it's working over there. Gunny here can attest to the fact that I'm far from a liberal. I'm a moderate, thank you very much. Independent at that. But, yeah. So everybody sitting here at this point, I hope all of you understand why we need to get rid of the penny. Other countries have done it. It's worked just fine. There's no reason for concern because in terms of inflation, it's literally useless. It doesn't facilitate trade. And if it has so little value, there's no point in keeping it around if it literally is going to waste taxpayer dollars. The waste in taxpayer dollars, the $1.7 billion a year, could totally be going towards something else. Like, actually creating an education system that fucking works. Or, providing better healthcare, because even though Obama had that one plan, that one isn't shit in comparison to what other countries are doing. Or any of the other major things that we could be using this $1.7 billion on.
That's a whole nother tirade.
That's a whole nother tirade in and of itself. So for all of you guys out there who have sat through my little rant, definitely leave me some remarks, letting me know what you think about the penny, what you guys think about the tirade, whether or not I should keep it. I personally like this segment. I get to, yell a little bit.
Yes, and it is very educational.
It's definitely educational.
For the kids.
It's for the kids, and something that I'm going to point out right now is that anybody out there who feels, it's too educational for me, I'm going to tell you to go and read a motherfucking book, for Christ's sakes. My God.
Stop fucking your sister.
This country already, and this is another tirade, so I won't even get into it in depth, has an education system that is incredibly subpar. And every single one out there, I encourage you to get off the Xbox sometime and read a goddamn book, and not a Halo book.
Kentucky, cough, cough.
Oh, don't even start bagging on Plaid. I've already given him enough shit for living in Kentucky. But yeah, so all of you guys out there, leave me a remark letting me know what you guys think about the penny, what you think about the tirades. Thanks for listening to me rant. Oh, and by the way, any Super Lincoln supporters out there, I know I brought it up, Lincoln will be fine. He's not going anywhere. His face is fucking carved into stone. He's on the $5 bill. It's okay.
Yeah.
We can get rid of the penny.
And I think that'll do it for this week's podcast, Toast. Is there anything else you want to add?
I think that's pretty much it. Everybody out there, like I said, thanks for listening. Thank you to Raz for showing up for the show.
Yeah, very much so.
Thank you to everyone out there who put up with my rant. Thank you guys in advance for submitting any Xbox Live codes that you have. That's a drive that I really want to get going.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a great way to give back to the community.
Yeah. It really would be, and I once again want to thank Raz for coming on and spending his time to talk to us about stuff. And keep sending in that viewer mail, guys. Keep sending in feedback, and we'll see what we can implement here as far as the community is concerned, because we really want to get you guys involved.
And Gunny, I'd actually like to give a personal shout out to here. Thank you for covering the first segment of the show due to my travel issues.
Yeah, that's fine.
You're
Enjoy fucking Europe, cause, you know, it's really a beautiful place.
It definitely is, and I will definitely enjoy it. Everybody, don't worry. The week of which I get back, so essentially the Monday after Easter, this next podcast show, I'm literally getting off of a bus from Florence to Pisa, taking a plane from Pisa to the UK, and then flying back to the US, then going straight over to Gunny's house to record another podcast for you guys. So don't worry, the podcast is still gonna be there. I'm devoted as shit, and I'll probably just crash all of that Monday.
Yeah, he'll probably just crash on my couch, so it's all good.
So to all of you out there, once again, thanks for listening, thanks for showing up, and as always, stay classy.
Stay classy, San Diego.